A bus full of nuns accidentally drives off a cliff and all the nuns die. And they arrive in heaven and meet St. Peter. And St. Peter says, well, ladies, before you can go through the pearly gates into heaven, I must ask you a question. Please form a single file. So they form a single file. And he asks the first nun, he says, sister, have you ever touched a man's dick? And she said, well, I did accidentally touch a man's dick with the end of my little pinky finger. So he says, okay, sister, dip it in the holy water and you will be admitted into heaven. And she dips it in the holy water and the gates open and in she walks, you see. And he says, next, please. He says, now, sister, have you ever touched a man's dick? And she says, well, I did accidentally touch one with my index finger. He says, okay, sister, dip your index finger in the holy water. And she does. Pearly gates open and whoosh, in she walks, you see. And there's a little bit of a kerfuffle in the queue. He says, so what's going on there? Sister Wendy, why are you trying to jump in front of Sister Madeline? And Sister Wendy says, well, I don't want to gargle with holy water after Sister Madeline's washed her arse in it.
And on that lovely note.
If I don't get banned for that, I won't get banned for it.
Don't blame me for trying, though, right?
That's a bloody cracker, and it was thanks to Mark Anthony who sent that in. Thanks, Mark. I don't know if you're in chat or are you actually paying a penance for giving it a joke? Do you know, when he sent it through, I was actually off my seat with laughter. I just couldn't stop laughing, and it's one of those that kept coming back during the day. And you know, have you ever had a situation where you're talking to someone and you think something, a gag, and you get the giggles? Because I was talking to my neighbour, and she must have thought he's a bit bleeding weird today. You know, he is weird.
Yeah, I've done it a few times, and I've been told it's a bit of a feminine trait, and I'm thinking, oh, that's great, that. And then, but you know, I don't know whether that's true, but yeah, sometimes you're sat there, just ticking through your head, and then suddenly you just burst out laughing. It's like, you know, everyone's looking at you as if you're nuts. I mean, I am nuts, but you know.
Well, I am bonkers as well, because we was going to have a kick round, a break round tonight, weren't we? Yeah. Because there might be a few bogeys in the chat, so you never know.
I'd rather a few bogeys than a few shits. But
yes. Right. Well, we've got Nathan Von Snowflake. And
please don't hurt me like a
high sensitive plonker. So there we go, highly sensitive plonker. Because what we're going to cover tonight is Fickle Piffle Wonky Awake versus HSP. Oh, here's the culprit for the gag. He's coming on already. Chat. But first of all, I think we've got to, what do you think? A bit of tinkly music. We're going to give Chris and his nice lady some, shall we say, strength. We're going to try and put some strength through to both of them, because I think we've all going up and down in strength and weakness and all that. If we can put our combined strength on wham to Norfolk, I'm sure they're going to feel a hell of a lot better. So here we go. Let's play the crappy, what's the name? Here it goes. There is a nice positive thought to Norfolk. And I'm sure it'll make not better. So it's all sort of
similar frequencies.
And if you keep hearing these funny noises, no, it's not me. It's not my flatulence coming back. I've got I don't know what it is. I think I've got a, what do they call it? A troll on Skype, and I can't get rid of it. And it keeps sending me messages. And I delete it, and it comes back. Delete. Delete. So I think.
The digital stalker, you've triggered the stalkers now.
Well, that's right. Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, before we start, should we have a quick sniffing chat? And the brownie points go this evening to happens to be Paul. Wait, where is it? Here it is. Paul Green, and he was on at 4:36 p.m. Now that's bloody keen, that is, isn't it? That really is keen. So, and we've got Aunt Sally, who says, "Evening, folks. Walking the dogs. Unlike my neighbour, whose dog takes him for a walk."
Oh, big dogs, proper dogs.
And listening on my phone. So it's good evening, Aunt Sally. Woo, woo, woo. Now, I haven't got a backside to sniff here, but I do a few sort of things that dogs do. And
Eric, you worry me sometimes, mate. Although, to be fair, it beats the cat purring that I used to do. If I ever wanted something, I'd kind of go to the person I wanted it from. Like, rubbing up against them, just kind of sending a message. I've been locked up a few times.
Do you hear about Joe Biden? He was going on the campaign trail, and he went to an aquarium, and there's a bloke.
Added to the aquarium?
Sorry?
Did he add to the aquarium? Did he?
Well, no, what he did, you see, there's a bloke doing his finger like this across the aquarium wall, and the goldfish is following it, you see. And Joe Biden says, after he crapped himself, he's just finished, change his pads and continence pads. He said, "That's incredible. How did you do that?" I can't take off Joe Biden.
That's pretty good.
Bloke says, "Well, it's mind over matter. My mind is pushing through the thoughts of a simple goldfish." Oh, that's amazing. Anyway, they all go on with the tour. And so where's Joe Biden? They go back to the aquarium, and he's standing there with his finger up to the aquarium wall with a goldfish, and he's going. So that's half the American population now switched off from us.
I don't know about that. I think even the half that would vote for him in would agree with that. Maybe, I don't know.
Even though
I feel like I'm shrinking here.
You are.
I've gone down.
Even though really looking forward to the show, will be a laugh. Yeah. Oh, wait, sending best to Krista Gardner and his lovely lady. That's nice. And we've got my camera never lies. Hello, everyone. That's Louise. Hope all is well. And then we've got here, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Cat, all for your kind words. Here we go. Yeah, things are going to get improved from now on, Chris. Here we go. And where are we? Mark Anthony, hello, Mark. How are you? Thank you very much. And where we got? Oh, we got Sue Coe. Now, hello, Chris, Nathan, everyone. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. A few minutes. What do you think? Lines or detention?
No, I'm thinking penance, and she'll have to buy some indulgences or something like that, just to get her through the day. I mean, that's unacceptable service. That.
Yes, I think she'll have to go to the headmaster for the cane, for her to cane him, not him to her.
You might give them ideas, she might enjoy that.
Well, it's terrible at my school. You go to the headmaster for the cane, he put the hand in your hand and say, "Whip me."
No comment. Depends what the teacher's like.
Well, it's good school. It's approved. And as Mark, thanks, mate. Glad you enjoyed the joke. And I'd like to thank Ted, you see, because I told Ted that he sent a gag in, and it's the old Swedish chemist shop gag. And I said I'm going to do it this week, but I'm afraid that, we'll put it on next week. All right, mate. So thanks, Ted. That's coming on next. And if you've got any good gags, not too blue for YouTube. Right. Now, who we got? Let's have a look who else we got. We got Tina Elizabeth. Hello, Tina. And
hello.
Casbar, evening all.
I've seen you for a while, Kaz.
No, and here we are. What do you think? Definitely go to see the headmaster with the cane, I think. He's going to enjoy it tonight, the headmaster, isn't he? It's a long time since I was at school. I never left. Right, now on with the show. Now, what we're going to actually talking about is HSP and also Fickle Piffle Wonky Awake. Because
which you can only say properly when you're drunk, by the way. That's
right.
We're lacking a glass of wine here or something.
Yes, and you mustn't be. You got to be careful. You've got a mouthful of nuts. It sounds like Wiffle Piffle Thistle and things like that. See, so, but how many times have you met someone who they think they're awake when they're not? And I don't like the word awake. I think it's better to say aware, because I believe the entire system is a cult, and what the secret services are doing are trying to create the cult mentality all the time. They're pushing it continuously, and it's like a illusionist act where it's, shall we say, hidden in plain sight. It's right in front of us. We go to school, we've got to be part of the team, part of this, part of that, part of whatever. And with this Wonky Awake, you'll speak to them, and if you say anything against Tommy Tucker, little Katie Hoppy Poppy Hopkins, or Trumpy Pants, the Americans know what I mean by Trumpy Pants, because you think about it, you've got Joe Biden, who has to have a diaper down his back, and you've got Trump, that's an English slang word for flatulence, isn't it? So what is it about anal things that Americans are interested in? Perhaps we might have a few Americans on to tell us. Yeah, it's very strange, isn't it? Why have you got two people that's to do with bottoms? But anyway,
yes, never consider that. Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah, Joe. You could have a cup of Joe. You could, if you want to do that. Coffee, cup of Joe.
Yeah. Could have a cup. You never know. Yes.
Yeah, just what you were saying there about constant, psychological manipulation as well. One of the things I've been looking into lately is the left-right paradigm as well, and how they literally always play off the left against the right, and it's not just slightly to the left or slightly to the right. It's sort of like a balanced position. It's always the extreme left or the extreme right. You can apply that to religion, politics, psychology, male-female dynamics, everything. If you look at, they've even turned male and female against each other now, which is a biggie. I think without going too much into that. Politics is always blue versus red, isn't it? If you look at the lights, ambulance and police lights and things like that, you've always got blue and red, let through the authority kind of thing. We are the authority, but it's a way of keeping people in a constant state of dissonance, which then makes them a lot easier to control. So, I think that plays into it as well, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. It does, because do you remember that thing? Who's that illusionist? I never remember his name. There was someone had to go to Harrods and pick up a toy, and it then came to my mind. It came out again. I've got a terrible memory.
I know you know as well. Yeah.
And what happened is they picked up a giraffe toy, and what this chap again, it flashed in my mind and came out again. So I had someone in chat, please. He did a thing on
Darren Brown.
Darren Brown, thanks, mate.
There you go.
Darren Brown.
Yeah.
And what he did, the taxi that this person got into, there's pictures of giraffes in there, and he made sure that there was posters with giraffes where the taxi went, and it actually registered on her subconscious, and that's why she picked a giraffe toy. And that's what they're doing. They're registering stuff on their subconscious. And I actually went into. I know you think I'm showing off when I say this, but I raised a little finger. Hang on, I better raise the little finger while saying this. And here we go.
Oh, with the little pinky.
One goes shopping in one's pound shop, because it's like places, pound lad. And after the last American election, they had loads and loads of stickers. Donald Trump. What's that got to do with us? We can't vote for him. It's weird. But the weirdest one was where I lived about 15, 20 years ago. We had this local councillor who worked in PR. Okay. We had a leaflet come through. Well, say we had, I was on my own. Had a leaflet come through the door, and it said, let's call it Councillor Lewis. Okay, that wasn't his name. It says, the bins are overflowing and need emptying. Councillor Lewis says the bins need emptying. There is dog poo on the streets. Councillor Lewis says the dog poo must be swept up. And it was all basic questions. And still, I mean, it's a bit like saying, to breathe, you must inhale. Councillor Lewis says, yes, you must exhale as well. I mean,
that's in line with the IQs dropping, isn't it? You've got to really spell it out for them now and state the obvious. So.
Yeah, but it's unbelievable, isn't it? And by the way, we've got Council of Nice Ears. Isn't that nice? Thank you, Council of Nice Ears. What a lovely
is that where television comes from? Oh, that was terrible. Nice Ears in Turkey. I don't know where I was going with that one.
One of the more authentic channels for this got the wrong teeth in on YouTube.
No, you haven't got enough wine, mate.
Keep up the originality. Many thanks. But no, this is the thing. It is very childish and very simple what they're doing. And this is why I think and going back to our usual topic, shall we say, the truth movement, they don't have to infiltrate. All they have to do is, shall we say, twiddle with the cult-minded people. And the cult-minded people go, and just go straight into it. Because the cult-minded people are looking for an icon. They're looking for someone to lead them. And that's what government has been trying to do since the year dot, is giving themselves a situation where people need somebody to lead them. But as often said, if you want a leader, look in the mirror and that leader will be looking at you back. It's you. Because
but they've convinced people that that's not true anymore. That well, like I said to you the other day, it's a case of pedestalizing people, isn't it? If you are looking up at somebody, then by default they are looking down at you. Psychologically, you've then accepted their superiority over your presence. So that's what we're doing. Whether it's a political leader, religious leader, whether it's a TV star or musician, whatever it might be. As soon as you pedestalize somebody, you are giving away your sovereignty. You're giving away your power to somebody else, and it's only the illusion that they are superior to you. Usually they cannot have that illusion if you don't give them it.
Yes, I 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. Now you're probably thinking, people saying, "What's HSP? Is this the new railway that's going through Birmingham?" No, it's why I've said this title is Fickle Piffle Wonky Awake versus Highly Sensitive People. Now, in saying this, I don't want to sound elitist. I just want to explain it, what it really is. Because about 2 years, 18 months ago, I did a show with Professor Moss on this subject, and YouTube took it down and they quietly put it back again. And but they gave me a week's ban. Now, whether we said tit or bum or something through it, and
well, maybe they were just looking out for your sensibilities or something. Maybe they saw HSP and they thought, got to be careful with this one. We'll take it out and then gradually reinsert it so that it can not offend as many people. I don't know. That's mad.
But you've tapped HSP into YouTube, and there's loads of sites about it, and they're talking about it. So I thought, sod it, I'm going to say it again. Now, what is HSP, and are you HSP? Now, I'll tell you what it isn't. It's not a disorder. Neither is it an illness. And it's not diagnosed as such. And it's not one of these fancy names like saying, I've got this syndrome or I've got that syndrome or anything. It's none of that crap. It's been around for years. And it really has very bad PR. People think that someone with HSP is a wallflower. There's a weak sort of... No, that is shit. It's crap. HSP is very difficult to explain, but what it is, you feel the pain of other people to a degree that is more so than others. Now, the woke have got on board with this, and what they're doing is they're corrupting, and the political agenda has got on board with this. But very quickly, around, and I don't know how they got this percentage, 30% of people have got HSP, highly sensitive people. And it runs in families. It's a genetic type of thing. And it has its advantages, a lot of advantages, but sometimes it can be a curse as well as a blessing.
Yeah.
Because your feelings, the difficulty is most HSPs are single because they have to find a fellow HSP to understand them, because their depth of emotion is much more intense. And I'm not saying they're intense people, but they will get emotional about things. Now, for example, there are famous people that's had it, that's generally got it. John Denver, he had it severe. You have different levels of it as well.
Well, you mentioned a few more, didn't you?
Yes, Spencer Tracy, he had it. And I really do strongly believe that Muhammad Ali had it, because and it wasn't an act, talking about a disabled child or something, the tears were rolling down his face and he's trying to hide it. I thought, So I think he had it. And
what was there on account of, though, just out of curiosity?
Sorry?
Well, you said he had tears running down his face. What caused that? What was the trigger for that?
Well, they were showing you, I think, a disabled child, and he was Bangladesh, and you saw the poverty there, and you could tell there was tears. That he was really taken back by it, very emotional. And he had that sort of deep love in him for people and people's well-being and that type of thing. Franklin Lloyd Wright, the American architect, had it badly as well. And you see, as I say, it's 30% of people, of which 50%, they say, are male. They've got it. People used to think that only females had it. No, men have got it as well. But it could be men, tough guys, that hide it. And strangely enough, I think it's half of that percentage are extrovert and half are introvert, which is another strange
dynamic, isn't it? Really,
it really is. And that now the woke have got a hold of it. They're saying that Einstein had it. Bullshit. He didn't have it. And they're saying that Abraham Lincoln had it. No, he signed the execution for people. He couldn't be HSP if he signed people's executions.
Unless he was forced into it. I mean, there could be a bit of coercion behind that he was kind of forced into making decisions. I don't know. I mean, just as a
maybe, but to become president of the United States, you can't be Mr. HSP nice guy, can you?
I thought, yeah. I mean, it's with such a high-ranking position, you'd think that there would be more along the psychopath trajectory rather than HSP. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe again, a lot of people have been manipulated into positions of power because they're easy to control. So I mean, it could have been a case that he was HSP, but they utilize that to their advantage, not his, and to his
Yeah.
Maybe.
You've got a good point there, but they say Barbara Streisand's got it.
Don't know anything like that.
I very much doubt it. But another one is Marilyn Monroe. No, she didn't have it because she couldn't give a shit if she held people up. She used to write to the studio late, couldn't give a bunkies. I mean, I think it was that actor Jack Lemmon, was it? He said that it was sitting around half the day waiting for her to come to the studio. She didn't give a monkeys. So no, she didn't have it, because if she did have it, she would care about the emotions of the people waiting. And that is the thing. The other thing is that it's been known about for years, and the police used to use people that have got HSP to suss out someone that's committed a crime, because that's something that we've got this way. If somebody is actually being devious with us, we will go to the ends of the earth to find the truth. And often it comes and bites us back. But they would suss out murderers, and whether these person, they had a way of sussing these people out. And this is another thing which is sometimes people think, oh, because anybody's trying to deceive you and they come up against an HSP, they bloody know it. They'll get the truth. Not in an aggressive way, in a really nice way. But the truth, they will find themselves coming up with the truth, but in a nice way. That's the thing. This is another.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it might be good at discovering the truth, and but it's how they deal with it. I think sometimes it might be how they present that dynamic could be a little bit better managed. I think sometimes.
Well, that's it. But this is the thing about this highly sensitive person type thing. I think there are lots of people that have got it but don't realise they've got it, and it runs in families. I think my grandfather had it, and it's because he where he lived, a cat was savaged by a dog near his house. He had a sleepless night because of it. It upset him so much. Where another person, it wouldn't. That's cat's been savaged. It really upset him, and he couldn't watch anything violent on television before going to bed because he went to bed.
Does a psychological number on him, and kind of I suppose that if something really affects you mentally, you're going to take it into your sleep, and if you're taking it into your sleep and you start dreaming about it, then I would imagine that you're going to wake up the following day carrying that with you, if you like, and then so that's going to put a dampener on your day, which then carries that through the following day, and then do you see what I mean? So the knock-on effect of it as well just emphasizes the I'm trying to think of a polite word of saying sensitivity, if you like.
Well, it's what it is that your level of perception is different. It's sort of where normal levels that your frequency is very different. Your brain is going at 1,000 miles an hour all the time. I don't know whether you've noticed this, Dave. Your brain is like this. And
I would say that. Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, my brain never stops, and it's annoying as it can get, because it's like it's always, the whole nature of always a vacuum. The idea that if there's an empty space, then something's got to go into it. It's a little bit like that. With my brain especially, there's always got to be something ticking over. So even if I'm sort of reading a book, then there's always something else going on there. If I'm watching something on the telly, that's ticking around whilst I'm looking at something else, whilst I'm thinking about what I'm doing next. So I don't know, maybe that's a massive part of that. I don't know.
I think it is, actually. It's just kind of but the thing is, it kind of stabs you in the back as well, because you get prone to depression with it. And you think other people, their brain has got 1,000 miles an hour as well, but they're not. And I think also easily hurt, but again, not in a snowflake sort of way. But did you find a lot of loud noise, like discos and things like that? You sort of and crowd. If there's crowd, you sort of it freaks you out. My idea of hell would be on a crowded aircraft. You're sitting here. It's weird. It really is.
Well, what I would say to that is, obviously people who have their tellies raging too loud. I can't abide that where the telly's blasting. It's almost like it's a pain, but it's not painful, if that makes sense. So, and in terms of loud noise, I hate it.
It's similar to an animal, where a dog can come in and assess the mood of an area. We can. And people could say, well, you're bleeding dogs, aren't you? Yeah, but and then identify as a Pekingese poodle.
No, I've got to correct you, mate. Look, I used to have a Pekingese, so that they qualify. Poodles aren't real dogs, mate. I'm sorry to offend. Poodles are a crossbreed between a llama and a sheep, and it thinks it's a dog, and it barks like a dog. But it's not a real dog.
I bloody hate poodles. I think they're the worst. Them and Yorkshire Terriers are the worst breeds of dogs ever. Because
Yeah.
there's a woman, a neighbour of mine had a bleeding poodle, some little bastard. It was a sort of an what do you call it, a kind of off-white colour.
Yeah,
And
like a whiskey colour.
whiskey colour, and between you and
Yeah.
I, it had this brown arse like a target. And it's bleeding thing, you take it for a walk. And it was called Brandy. I called it Brandy Balls.
Well, how bizarre is this then? So I used to know a guy who had a poodle as well and called it
Yeah.
whiskey. So how was that? There's a synchronicity for you. And it was whiskey coloured. So
Did you know, this is true, you can look this up, more people get bitten by poodles than Alsatians in a year. Hospitals see more people that have been bitten by a poodle than a bloody Alsatian.
yeah, that's kind of like a really deep psychological problem with poodles, because again, it's they get dissociative personality disorder. They think they're dogs and they're not.
That's right.
So of course that's going to leave them feeling quite sensitive, and then so they've got to do the little dog syndrome to make up for it, which is to bark like a dog. How many people do you reckon we've offended with this one?
Yeah. Also, they're privilege. They like to impersonate a privilege, because there's another woman. I don't know what it's about poodles where I live. Another woman had a bleeding poodle, one of the big ones, and it was like a privilege. It's all sort of all this, you know.
Yeah, the curls and the prancing around as if it's some posh pony. It's not. It's not.
I love all animals, but
there's a certain hierarchy of animals. I better not do that, because people will think I'm part of the Illuminati. Yeah, we need to form the Poodle Appreciation Society, but I'm not joining it because I don't want to.
But no, Brandy Balls. When I looked at it, I always thought it was a rugby football somehow, and I don't like it, but you know, get that feeling. I wouldn't.
So you're offending the poodles now. See, so now we have to apply the HSP snowflakery to the Poodle Society. Yeah, but you know they're not real dogs for the simple fact that they've got that little pom-pom on the back of their tail. Oh, come on. You've got to walk past an Alsatian, it's like, mate, give it up. Another
thing. I shouldn't go to these details. I did that, sit there with binoculars, look at this bloody poodle, but I was walking down the road much, and it was having a crap up against a tree. And when it finished, it reversed its arse up the tree. Now, I know it's right with his bum on the tree, but I've never seen a dog do it. Anyway,
it's backwards mentality. It's going up the tree backwards, and you know that should tell you everything, shouldn't it?
But anyway, back to HSP. One thing.
I thought we were talking about HSP again. It's appreciation day.
Yeah, but well, I dislike for poodles, but it's not woke. I can assure you that woke have not got HSP. 100% sure of that. It's something.
They've just corrupted it like everything else, haven't they? They've used wokeness, sensitivity, delicate sensibilities. You know, all of these things. They've basically taken it, pushed it to the extreme, and then cashed in on it. And I think that's actually the whole woke thing. I think that's an attack on masculinity. And I also think the idea of it is to pit feminists, which are not feminine, up against masculine types, which then brings the masculine persona down to this emasculated. I'm going to say man. I can't think of the right word for it, but it's a way to weaponize psychology again. You know, it's almost like they're taking the piss at that point, isn't it? Let's be honest.
So, it is. Yeah. And again, the woke and this sort of new agey type thing, they've hijacked these conditions. Now, the fact is, it's been known about for years, HSP. And again, it is not a disorder, and it's not an illness. It's just that your brain is sort of, I wouldn't say it's programmed, but it just there is differences where you can sort of. The other thing is we don't like change. Change is thing because it's sort of, and pressure, stress and pressure is, some people can handle stress. No, you can't. And there's
overthinking as well. Sorry to interrupt, mate. It's but overthinking's part of that as well. The whole stress thing.
Yeah.
You're on about not being able to quiet your thoughts. Part of that is you sit there and overthink everything. You overanalyze everything. It's like you're trying to constantly assess every single outcome, and then it's that in itself is stressful. It's like fighting a war on three fronts in a way.
Well, and also one of the other things is panic attacks and that type of thing, because it's a nervous thing as well. So and I've got a technique now of getting rid of nasty. You get a thought come into your brain, and that's the thing. It's bullshit that it's a chemical imbalance. That is bullshit. There's nothing to do with a chemical imbalance. It can't be medicated. It can't be cured. It is just part of to do with the way your brain works, and they can't change it. That's it. But it's not an impediment. That's the thing. It's an advantage, because the one advantage is you're extremely loyal. The loyalty, that's the thing. I think it was. I think John Denver. He was very loyal and that. But again, the woke and the political agenda are hijacking it, and this is how you get this fickle piff. Now, I don't think HSPs are Fickle Piffle Wonky Awake. Or I said no, something else, but no.
Now remember not to swear too much. We agreed this.
Wonky.
Well, we didn't. I'm making it up. Actually, just before we move on to that, one of the things that's worth picking up is if this isn't a chemical imbalance in the brain, right? If this is not a disorder of any kind, then medicating it potentially is going to make it far worse than it was to start with.
Yeah.
So if you consider that you're sensitive and things are getting to you, you become distressed over something, you start getting depressed, and then you go see your doctor, and he's first of all, let's prescribe you some antidepressants or some therapy. I mean, even I think a lot of talking therapies can cause more damage than they can resolve, actually, because if it unlocks a part of your psyche that potentially is locked up specifically, maybe that's compartmentalized for a reason. And if you're medicating people with HSP, you're going to scramble their brains. You're going to actually make their condition worse, and it might calm them down, or it might make them feel good for a little while. But what's the long-term consequences of that?
Well, that's right, because there's nothing wrong with them. That's the thing. It's not an illness. It's like it's how you deal with it and use it to its best advantage, because it has got terrific advantages to it. Because you can see through.
Tell us some of the advantages. Let's look at that.
Well, this is off the top of my head. I mean, you can generally see the advantages. You're very loyal, yes, because when you think about it, an HSP, when people say, "Oh, you're too sensitive" and things like that. Well, so the advantage is, I've come to the conclusion that only an HSP under a fellow HSP, we can actually. It's a bit like psychopaths can sort out another psychopath. We're right at the end of the
I guess. Yeah.
We can identify another HSP very quickly. It's just little thing. Also, you walk into a room and you know the mood. You can test that. You can sense it very, very quickly. You can also possibly, I wouldn't say it's a perception that we have is of a greater degree to other people. So that's why there's a lot of people into spirituality, and a lot of spiritual people have got HSP. And apparently we're more prone to seeing ghosts than others. Because
do you know what? That's an interesting one. I don't know about ghosts, but I have had some very, very strange experiences. That I'd be happy to go into them actually in a future episode, because yeah. I mean, not just ghosts, but when you mentioned there that it's almost like you can taste the air, right? You can taste the atmosphere. So I've often walked into a situation where I thought something's not right here. And then you'll ask people, say, what's going on? And they're like, what you're on about? You're being paranoid. And anyway, so then you start second guessing yourself, and then you start thinking, maybe I'm being, the whole too sensitive and all that. And anyway, but as things go along, you realize somebody said something, and there's an air there, and somebody else has got offended, which has affected the whole dynamic of the group or whoever's in the room. And it's like, right, so when I came in and asked you if there was a problem or if something's happened, you all gaslit me, or you're all keeping quiet, and yet you pick up on that as a HSP as soon as you walk into anywhere. I mean, I would even say, it doesn't even have to be a room or an enclosed space. You can walk into a town centre and still pick that up. It's almost like you're in tune with a frequency. And again, I've got to be careful of the frequency thing, not to sound new age and the fake awake idea that you're airy fairy and something special. You're not, but I do think obviously sensitive refers to sensitivity, right? So then picking up on other frequencies.
Yes, that's you could sum it up perfectly, because you can test the mood of the nation, sort of thing. There's something there's something not quite right, and things like people. Now, some people say, "Oh, I do that naturally. It's nothing to do with HSP or anything like that." I don't like giving names to myself and putting myself into little groups and categories. But this is where, when we're coming up against this Fickle Piffle Wonky Awake, I said it there, we can see it straight away. It's a cult. And this kind of bombarding you with idols. This person said this. Little Tommy Tucker said this. Little Tommy Tucker said this, that, and if you say, well, no, little Tommy Tucker from Luton is an agent of a foreign country because he walks around with a flag around his neck, they go, oh, you're anti-Semolina, or some word like that.
It must be your dyslexia played up there.
It's a bit of dyslexia there. Sorry about that. Yeah. He tells us what. No, he's telling us the truth. I don't care about that. That's the one I've normally got.
Yeah, the whole idea that he's telling it how it is. No, he's a bully boy. He goes in and he's maybe a little bit more assertive, but at the same time, just because they're being assertive doesn't mean that what they're saying is true. It just means that they're making their voices very loud, and then that gives the impression that they know what they're talking about, which is not necessarily the case.
Well, there's a country where it's in their interests that the indigenous group of people in this country fight against some Middle Eastern people of, shall we say, Muslim leanings. It's in their interest to stir it up. Now, I'm sure there are grooming gangs of all different religions and all different, what's going on. Yes. But the fact of the matter is that there's grooming gangs in that religion, but there are also nice people in that religion that are nothing to do with grooming gangs and things like that. And that's what's happening. It is a pantomime which they have got into the so-called truth movement, and they've called the Fickle Piffle Wonky Awake, you see. And they have been brainwashed. I'm really positive that. We've all been brainwashed to a certain extent, because I was. And then you sort of suddenly think, well, hang on, there's something not quite right there. But they're always fickle. Your best friend, whilst you're believing what they believe in, but if you question what they believe in, you are the most evil, nastiest piece of work you'd ever wish to meet. And that's it. Now, I've got friends that totally disagree with what I have to say, but they're still my friends, because we're polite about it. And we always say, I respect what you say.
Disagree.
But I respectfully disagree. I politely and respectfully disagree. And I think that's the way we've got to be. That is the way to go forward. I'm open to have a show where we can debate things where we do disagree, but we're polite about it. Not, you said that, you bastard. No, you said that. And all this sort of stuff. You get nowhere with that. Anyway, shall we have a quick whiz-in chat?
Yeah, just before you I don't know whether I should bring this next bit up. I'll think about how to, yeah, have a look in chat and we'll come back to what I was going to say there, actually.
Okay, right. I'll give
Yeah.
you a bit of time, I think. Right, we've
Yeah.
got here. As long as you aren't an RH negative vegan empath.
Oh, burn. I'm not. I don't think.
I always walk like this, actually. It's
Vegan.
the underparts. But now, yeah, I was in Lidl's the other day. The woman said, "Excuse me, you got a Lidl card?" I said, "No, I always walk like this." She sort of joked, actually. She had a good old laugh. Your laugh, Chris, made me giggle so much. Oh dear, got the giggles.
Infectious.
Have you ever had the giggles when you're out? You think of something and you just can't stop laughing. I mean, that nun joke got me. I had it on my mind all day. Well,
Is that why you got kicked out of Tesco the other day?
It might have been, yeah. Well, do you reckon I should say this? No, I don't know whether to say that. Do you remember the Happy National Building Society?
Yeah.
Well, they used to have. And somebody said they saw this, but I don't know how true it is. They used to have a poster, "Get the Abbey Habit." And somebody's underneath F nuns. Sorry, religious people. You know,
I'm making no apologies for religious people. I think
this is more foul, as John Hamer says. It starts on a low note of vulgarity and filth, and it goes into degradation.
Yeah, and it goes gradually down from there until it plummets.
Right. Because remember, our greatest weapon against the New World Order is laughter. We got to home in on our laughter and really, give them what for with laughter. Now, Tina Elizabeth, hello, Tina. Laughing is an antidote for me for this Markley.
Laughing, you have to laugh, because if you don't, you'll go absolutely insane eventually.
Yeah.
So
I was late diagnosed with ADHD and have been called too sensitive. Yep, I've had accused too sensitive. Yeah. Which I usually like to, nowadays I'm a bit older, I usually give a 2-word answer in which the last word is off.
yeah.
All my life, our intuition is so on point too. We just seem to know things. Yeah. And Tina,
Sometimes, but I think part of the problem with that is that intuition has been attacked as well. So it's largely a feminine attribute, right? So I mean, it's more prevalent in women than it is with men, and
yes.
I think it's largely been attacked. I think it's been switched off, whether that's through frequencies, whether it's through social media programming, chemicals in your food, water, air, all of these things. I think part of the intuition has been switched off in people now, and so the only caveat I would add to what Tina said there is that you've got to be careful that you're not confusing your feelings, your emotions with genuine intuition, which is what a lot of people do. I've found, especially within the spiritual side of the movement, if you can call it a movement, which I disagree with actually, but is that they say, oh, well, I just know that. And it's like, well, no, you don't just know it, because it's provably false, And then so they will attack you for saying, oh, well, it's my intuition. Well, no, it's not your intuition. It's your feelings, which you've confused with your intuition. Which is, well, I'm not dismissing what you're saying there, and I still think that it's definitely an attribute and a trait that's HSP potentially pick up on better, and definitely from a female perspective. Yeah.
And do you find, Tina, that you can spot another HSP? I think we can. We sort of suss them. But now we got here. Some don't get depressed with it. Some get very high.
Well, I don't know, because you could say that part of the whole bipolar is linked into that, because if you might react in a hyper what's the word, like sort of you don't necessarily know how to react. So sometimes you'll get a little bit too excitable with it, and you won't know how to properly respond. And so I can kind of see where she's going with that.
You see, if you the thing with HSP is that you take on other people's emotions. which is
To a large
difficult
degree,
to
yeah.
explain.
This is the
To a large
empathetic side of
degree.
it, isn't it?
You empathise too much, and it's sometimes part of your downfall, because if someone's crafty, they can use it against you.
They do use it. And the amount of people that have betrayed me on account of I'm quite happy to be loyal to someone, or to support them, offer my help, and I have done. And again, I'm tempted to go into further details here, and it usually gets reversed on you. It backfires by the very people that you've tried to help or that you have helped, and then they will throw it back at you and then accuse you of being the perpetrator. When in actual, and I don't go for the whole victim mentality, but they twist it and invert it so that you then become the villain, and of course that does more damage in the future, because it knocks your confidence, it knocks your ability, your aptitude in a lot of cases.
Well, what a lot of people do is accuse you of what they do to hide what they do.
Deflection and inversion again, yeah.
Right.
Sorry, I can hear a bit of echo coming through. Is the sound all right for the audience?
It's all right. I might be able to do something at this end. There's a feedback somewhere.
I can hear it quite.
Shall I put? Let's have a look. See if what I can do. I go to settings. I'll turn my mic down a little bit.
Turn this one down as well, so because I wouldn't want to.
I'm going to reduce mic background noise. How's that? Does that sound better?
I think so. Ask the audience, because it just sounds like a "Who Wants to Be a Millionaire" question. No, I just because obviously I'm quite aware of it when it's feeding back a little bit.
So. Is that okay? You're getting feedback now. I've just done some changes to the mic settings.
I think it's improved. Yeah, I think there's an improvement.
I think it has, yes. Now the thing is that that inversion they do as well, and of course you are easy prey to these people because they can look big.
Yeah.
But again, you're not a snowflake. You're not a pushover. This is the thing.
No, but they'll accuse you of being it. They will accuse you of being a pushover, snowflake. Gullible, naive, all the rest of it. You hear that a lot, and it's like, well, actually, you're the one that's reacting. You're the one that's reacting emotionally and projecting that onto me, right? So yeah, there's a lot of.
But what they find creepy is you're sussing them out. You are.
yeah.
And you're finding out their weaknesses. And I shouldn't say this for other people to be judged, but HSP, what I've been looking at, the majority are scrupulously honest. And the people that have got something to hide will drag an HSP's morality, their honesty through the mud.
Yes. Oh yeah, the character assassinations, the flying monkeys, all of that comes out to play. Yeah, that's definitely a problem.
Excuse me, the Skype mole or whatever it is back again. And can you work this one out? If you followed the above trading signals, it is recommended to close the order. Really, I just can't get rid of this control.
Can you not block it? Can you not ban it and sort of like?
I've tried. Well, I'm going to not try Skype off and then reload it. It's about the only way I think I'm going to get rid of it. Right now, this is an interesting one. He is a wife beater too. Who's that? Sooty or Swoop? Like spending mugs donations on new veneers. His fans are usually a bit thick as they cannot see wood for trees. Yes, you're talking about.
You're talking about a certain Tommy.
Yes, Tommy Tucker, who's a bit of a funny person. Can't think of anything to rhyme there. Must be good. No, anyway, Tommy Tucker,
I wouldn't, as far as I could chuck him, but
fan person. Yes, but now we got here Council of Nice Ears. I like that, Council of Nice Ears. Tina Elizabeth, the being too sensitive options always make me laugh, as they're seriously asking you to lower your capacity to sense. Well, that's it. I mean, this what I said about scrupulously honest. I don't mean that in a conceited way or anything like that, because I'm sure there's HSP people who are a bit, shall we say, bent when it comes to finance. Maybe, I don't know. But this is what I read up. Now, when you read this up, because it's saying employers would prefer an HSP because they're but again, where do they get those? Where do they get those statistics from? I don't know, because I've been reading up about this quite a lot, and as I say, I've got the opinion that the agenda and the woke have got a hold of it, and they're using it badly for bad reasons, you know. The Council of Nice Ears, the same for when they say you think too much during an era which is dominated by not thinking enough. Oh, I've been told that. I think deeply. I think too much. Well, I've earned a bleeding living over thinking too much because I do design work, you know.
You know what? 10 out of 10 for that one, because that annoys the hell out of me. That I'd rather think too much than not at all.
That's right.
So,
that's it. I mean, and that really irritates me. Oh, stop thinking too much, thinking too deeply. No, I like to think deeply. I think about things. Look at blokes with pipes. Yeah.
I like that image, you know, the old pipe and a whiskey in one hand, in front of a fireplace with a wall full of books. I can definitely relate to that.
Well, a little story. Apparently, it's happened in my daddy told me this when I was a young whippersnapper, and when about 40. And no, he said in the 1930s, when he was a young lad, there was a bloke on a train, a city gent, with a cigar, smoking away like this, and you know, bowler hat a lot, and a woman opposite him pulled a communication cord, tore her top, and said, rape. And he was sitting there, and the guard came along, and you know, what's going on? This man tried to rape me. And he just very calmly said, if I did, how comes I got this length of tobacco on the end of my cigar? And the bloke said, okay, walked off. And that, yeah, apparently that happened.
Is that for real?
Yes. Well, my dad told me that. And he reckons he got it from the newspapers or somewhere. So, you know, I like to believe what my father told me. And he said that happened when he was a young lad. So, you know, yeah.
That's quite extreme, that, like.
Yeah. But apparently women used to do that when they come against rich people, you know, so they could claim money. But
yeah, exactly.
So you know, that was, so he had this great head long. So if he tried to rape me, he wouldn't have that amount of cigar ash on the end of his cigar.
That could be an advocation for CCTV, really. That.
Yeah. But yes, it's because you know the old train doors. You know, we used to sit in like a so I'm old enough to remember that. You know, and George Stephenson, who was driving the engine, and
not Thomas the Tank Engine. Right?
Thomas the Tank Engine. Yeah, right. We got here. DJ B2 said, "Good job. Did not see a nun in Tesco's. I did actually, but she got me into a very bad habit. We used to.
I saw plenty of penguin bars. Does that count?
Do you realise? I wonder if the Catholic religion is going to excommunicate us tonight. I don't know. I think
that may have happened some time back. If that was going to happen, I think I'm definitely excommunicated on that level.
Yeah. Do you know Dave Allen was excommunicated from the Catholic Church?
Joking.
Apparently he was. Yeah. Because he always used to take his humour. Yeah, he's always taken one at the church, wasn't he? Because he hated it. Oh, he was very spiritual.
Yeah, he told it as it is.
Yeah, because to me, religion is man-made. I think you can be spiritual.
Absolutely.
And to me, my cathedral is a beautiful forest. Is nature. That is cathedral to me. And you know, I believe I've often said this as an energy, but I don't know what the energy is. But I actually, shall we say, I wouldn't worship it, but I totally respect it. And this is why I'm thinking about frequency. If you wake up and you're having a shitty day, it's because your frequency is wrong. And was it Bob, whatever his name is, talks about that. So to change your frequency, what I do, I sit down and have a cup of coffee or one or two, and then sort of, hey man, by that time I'm out of my mind on coffee, so I'm probably, doesn't really matter what happens. Hey, I've got coffee, man.
Well, I don't know about coffee doing that. I mean, coffee kind of wakes me up in the morning. I don't start thinking until I have a black coffee, and John Heyman knows this one personally. But in terms of relaxing, if anyone would like to send their morphine patches or anything like that, morphine's the one that does it.
I'm actually on what is called St. John's wort. It's perfectly legal, and it's not a wart. It's actually a tablet, and it's perfectly legal in the UK to take St. John's wort. And hi, man, I'm on St. John's wort. I'm sort of, hey, you're calm.
It never had that effect on me, actually. I mean, I've tried St. John's wort a couple of times, and I actually found that it wired me. I mean, it's almost like it had the opposite effect of it didn't calm me. Kind of it sprung me into action. I was like, oh yeah, interesting.
Because again, it was just proved that one size doesn't fit all, because we're all different, and the general quackery believes that, I think I've covered that quite a lot, it believes that all one size fits all. And that's the thing. It doesn't. I mean, it's a bit like what's that Australian stuff, tea tree oil. Now it works okay with me, but I've found other things work better. So it all depends on your DNA, where your family background, where you come from, and things like that. And they reckon you're one of, I think it's 5 food groups around the world. So, But
so is this similar to the whole blood? So it's like your blood group, isn't it? I mean, apparently certain foods go with certain blood types. I mean, you've got people who can thrive on veganism, and they don't need any kind of protein intake. Well, I say protein. There's plenty of protein in vegetables and beans and pulses and things like that. But the argument that you can't be vegan because you don't get protein is bollocks. But then again, there are some people that thrive on red meat, whereas red meat will then have a detrimental effect on other people that will thrive on white meat. And it does seem to be related to your blood group largely. So I mean, how does that?
I don't know. I mean, Miles, he's a qualified nutritionist, so he would actually know. But he was saying, and his ears are probably going red now, that he should get something off a block for fine.
Be careful how you're doing that on camera, Eric.
Sorry?
You want to be careful how you're doing that on camera.
Oh, bloody hell, yes. So I was saying Fickle Piffle Wonky Awake, yes. And he said anything about these new oils that they got, like what they call it, rapeseed and that crap, and sunflower oil, don't touch them. And unless it's natural, shall we say, unpasteurized, don't touch dairy. That's another one, So, Miles, your bloody ears are burning tonight,
You've just upset everyone now, because everyone seems to like cheese, and I mean, you just said not unpasteurized. You just offended the whole world.
Have goat's cheese.
I know, but that's like the poodle of the dog world, isn't it? The goat's cheese isn't really a cheese,
Yeah, but
I don't know. It just seems weird, goat's cheese. I don't know.
Yeah, but there's vegan cheese, which is, I think, the next step up from polystyrene ceiling tiles. So if you don't like eating polystyrene ceiling tiles, just have vegan shit.
So, well, you've got those thin slices of cheese, haven't you? Like burger cheese that you put on top of a burger. I can't stand it. It tastes horrible. It doesn't even taste like cheese. It just tastes like plasticky cream. It's horrible. But apparently they are made up of 60% plastic. So those cheese slices, they're almost completely synthetic. So they've actually got plastic in them.
Yeah,
well,
strange.
Make of that what you will.
Well, I reckon that margarine is plastic, isn't they? I think it's got. I think it's linked with paint. What is it? Acrylic paint.
Wow.
It's cheap to get the margarine, spread it up your wall, than it is to paint.
But then if you get really desperate, you're going to start going around and licking the walls, aren't you?
Yeah, go lick the wall. Nice. When I was a kid, don't tell anybody else this, but keep it to yourself. I found this out years later. I mean, I was very young. I was only about 25. But it's sort of like dolly thing or whatever it was. And I used to like sucking the end of it. And I found my sister.
Is that the time, Eric? I'm going now.
My sister did this dolly thing. She said it had a nice salty taste.
Oh my god!
And I thought, nice salty taste.
Are you the kind of guy that likes his stamps and the envelope?
Yeah, no wonder my mouth felt like the bottom of a baby's pram, all sort of stale piss and dry biscuits. Right, now we got here Council of Niceties. Intuition is inner guidance. Yes. And I find that the older I get, the more I listen to my intuition. Not always, but sometimes I do, and it tends to sort of, Tina Elizabeth, yes.
Is that a proposal answer? Is somebody proposed there and she's just said, yeah?
Yes. Can only marry you next week, not this week, because I'm busy divorcing somebody else. Is that okay? Right. Okay. Right.
We haven't put you on the spot there or anything, Tina. Sorry about that.
Not on the spot. Yeah. Your place or mine for the marriage. Right. Okay. If mental hospitals had walkways, that's life, but not as we know it. They'd be called psychopaths. That's psychopaths. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant one.
Oh, yeah.
Mental hospitals have walkways. They'd be called psychopaths. Brilliant one, that is. I didn't see it first of all.
That's a good one.
But not as we know. And by the way, please send the jokes in. The old gags. We like them as long as they're not too blue. Because now we said that's life, but not as we know it. They are experts at gaslighting. Yes. Spot on. Now, Cat Holly says, yes, I'm always getting told I overthink things. Oh, I lost count amount of times people tell me that. You're overthinking. Bullshit, basically. It's good because you think how many shallow, well, they're not thinkers, they're just shallow people. Oh, I mean, how many gumless gits do you come across in a day?
You do realise I live in Teesside and it's pretty much 90% gormless gits, right? I'm going to get kicked in there. That's true. It's true.
Did I tell you I come up against, because I'm writing this book about bullshit. It's the world's first. Well, you got a dictionary to look up spellings. You got a thesaurus to look up different meanings of things, different. And I've got a bullshit book which you can look up bullshit. You see, so someone's bullshit, and you go, oh yes, page 23. And I actually got 2 Pratt stops and a mock chew. I was telling you about the mock chew, wasn't I, when we was off air? And I cycled down to the local market. It's very boring, I know, on my bike. On the push bike, you see. And I got this, and it was kind of, excuse my language, pissed down with rain. So I decided to use my mountain bike, which has got like ball horns at the front, which you hold and you sort of get down. So you got thickish tires, not that thick, but when I wear the dark shades, it's a bit imposing seeing that bloody thing coming towards you. It's a bit like, shall we say, a 2-wheeled tiger tank. You get out of the way of it pretty quick. Anyway, 1,000 bleeding gears on it. I think you could probably go up a 90-degree slope with it. It's got so many gears. Anyway, I was changing my bike up, and had the dark glasses on, and they're just ordinary. They're pound shop sunglasses. I wear to keep the shit and muck out my face, because when you cycle, you get all the shit thrown up from the cars. You see. And I was debating whether to go by car that day, and I thought, no, I'll chance it by bike. You see. So anyway, I saw this mock chew. That's
yeah.
And they have words of twat wisdom. They come out. Why don't you do that? Especially with their mates. Quite much them look big. You know what I mean? And all talk a lot of this. You see them. You ever see them on mock chews when they go into Indian restaurants? That's perfect. All got. Look, I look at the menu when I want to. Got any lager? Yeah.
They're fighting lager with everything, isn't it?
So this mock chew was going. Like I see him sort of eyeing me up and down as I chain my bike up. And I thought, there's going to be some twat words of wisdom any minute now. And he was looking at me thinking, oh, I bet he's one of these bleeding environmentalists that uses old mill toilet paper and that type of thing, you know. He looks a right Paul Anchor, that bloke does, you know. And I'm looking back as if I'm not, you see. And he didn't say anything, walked off. I thought, miserable bastard. And he got 2 out of 10 for that. But I had 2 Pratt stops. Now, Pratt stop is a person who stands in your way deliberately and then asks if they're in the way or tries to delay you as long as possible by standing in the bleeding way when they could easily get out of the way. My mother was an expert at it. And sorry, Mum. And what happened is I was cycling along and there's this sort of side entrance and like a hedge where you can and it was like a sort of a joint cycle and pedestrian way, you see. So there are down that dark glasses and the tiger tank, you know, on 2 wheels. And there's this little, because there's a big Italian, there's a lot of Italians that live around here, or Sicilians, because during World War II there was a Sicilian prisoner of war camp. A lot of them stayed here, 2nd and 3rd generation, and you've always done it because they're very short people. They're about 5'4", 5'3".
Yeah, the Romans had a reputation for that as well, didn't they? Apparently, they were quite small in stature compared to the Northern Europeans.
Well, this Italian or Sicilian bloke saw me, see, and I'm trundling along, and then steps right in front of me. Almost went over the top of like this, and he's waiting for me to say something, and then decides to have a conversation with his wife, who, shall we say, I had a very envious of his wife's moustache. It was a good one. Why did she didn't twiddle it, you know? And you know the type with the sort of it looked like a Michelin man, yeah. And she was only about 5 foot something, you know. Like this. So
you've just offended Mario now, so that the mafia's going to come after you because you've offended Mario when you were talking about a woman, which makes it even worse.
Well, I'd almost de-ghoulied myself because I came off the sound myself on the crossbar. So, that's the reason I got a high voice tonight, you know. So
sounds like it needs to be in slow motion to do one of those old sitcoms, you know. Just as the sitcom ends, you go in slow motion.
Well, Gio, he held me up for about a minute. And in the end, I had to walk into the road, round my bike, I walked the other way, and then get on it. And as I got on it, I looked round, and the bastards, him and his missus, are walking off. They were professionals, though. They were real professionals, Pratt stops. And they got 10 out of 10 for it. It was very good. Although I think that MP I saw on the train, he was about Pratt stop. Did I ever tell you about, what was his name now? Jerry Hayes. I saw him on the train once.
No,
and, yeah, I was in Liverpool Street Station when I worked in London, waiting to go home. And I left, because we used to leave early on Fridays, you see. And I left about 3:30 in the afternoon, 1:30, just before rush hour. I was sitting, and I got into one of those carriages where it's first class one side and second class the other. That's the tip that all commuters do. You get onto that carriage because people think it's all first class, and it isn't. It's second class, and it's a bit emptier than all the other carriages, you see. So little tip between you and I, don't tell anybody else. So I'm sitting in the second class, reading my paper, and on walks Jerry Hayes. You know, he was the Conservative MP for Harlow. And you can see somebody at the back of the carriage. Hello, how are you? And he's got his sweaty armpit. You know, it's July day. Oh, and all this. Well, I think it's June. About this time, I think. Yeah. And he starts telling everybody how marvellous he is and that. And now he was a master at Pratt stopping, absolute master at it. I would say he's got a degree in it. And he stood right in the carriageway, where central corridor where you walk through, and he was standing in the lobby. And the bloke gets on, and the train was in the station. The doors are open. Bloke gets on. I suppose, mate. Oh, just mine, you know, my wife's gone to Chapners and the nanny's looking after children. Obviously, a man of the people. Oh, and I passed this in resolution in the Commons last night. We had all night sitting, and I am doing it. And I'm shut up, you bastard. Anyway, I'm sitting there trying to read. In those days, I used to read the newspaper. Wow, shut up.
Well, we're all got our flaws and vices.
Right. And the bloke said, "Excuse me, can I have pass, please?" So yes, excuse me, do you wish to come through? No, I'm standing here for the benefit of my health. What do you think I want to do? So where a normal person would step into the main lobby, one step, no. He leaned across. So it crumples my newspaper up. I'm like this, and I've got a whiff of ministerial armpit. As the poor sod tries to shuffle past him. Brilliant. He's disrupted so many people. A brilliant prat stopper. Marvellous. And really was pissing me off. And when the bell went for the doors to close and the train to go, he said, "Oh, well, I must leave you peasants to it. Of course, I can go first class." And you just walk straight into the first class.
Wow.
And the girl sitting opposite me at the other side of the corridor said, "God help us if that's what." What's in power. Yeah, I've never forgotten that. But I mean, this poor sod was behind him for about 30 seconds, a minute. "Oh, so can I come through, please? I'll come through, please." "Oh, well, But what got me up is
sorry, I was just going to say, when you the way that you're describing him there, I mean, it's like your typical MP, isn't it? So what about the House of Commons? I mean, are we not supposed to be convinced that they are one of us, that they are on our level, whilst we clearly know that they're not? And yeah, I don't know anybody who does talk like that, and I know some pretty well-spoken people as well, and they're from a different bloody planet.
Well, he's probably watching tonight, and he's a solicitor, so I'll probably have my arse in next week.
Not joking there. It was for comedic value and entertainment purposes only. Believe me.
Yeah. Yes. Hello, Jerry. You're a marvelous MP, and terrific, wasn't you? Can you smell something? I think bullshit there.
Yeah, I think I've got a whiff of that over here as well. Funnily enough, it must be contagious.
By the way, has anybody in chat or anybody seen a hairy arse MP coming round trying to canvass votes? Because I haven't. You wouldn't think it's a general erection. I think they're frightened of coming round in case they get beaten up or get pelted with something.
Well, the thing is, mate, is that I've got a removal of implied right of access on my door, so I'm waiting for this. Actually, I've got a rant. Can I rant for a minute?
Have a quick rant. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I want to have a rant here. Right, this is going to surprise people, but so I'm going to do it publicly on air so that I've got some plausible deniability here, right? So I've got an implied right of access removed on my door, right? So you come to the property, it's like, right, get off unless you've got something for me or you've been invited, right? So no, in answer to that, I've never. The downside to that is I've not seen any MPs, any canvassers, any Jehovah's Witnesses, and I'm quite depressed actually. But worse still, I've not had the TV license go and come to my door either, and I'm very, very upset about this. So every single month I got a lovely letter through the door saying, "Are you in on this date?" And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm in that date. We might come and see you. I'm thinking, fucking hell, company at last, right? I'm getting really excited about this. And now I've just put it down to gaslighting. They are gaslighting the shit out of me. They keep promising to come and see me, and there's me, like a doofus, waiting for it, thinking, yeah, this is going to be good conversation. Nah, not a thing, never. They always come when I'm out, and then they threaten to keep me company another day, and they never turn up. But now, this is the rant part of it. I want to watch the football this month, and being the honest dickhead that I am, I thought, right, okay, well, I don't need a license, but on this occasion, I'm going to ring the silly bastards up and say, right, I want a month of TV license, right? So I got through to them this was a couple of days ago. I got through with them, and I said, right, can you tell me where I can watch the football live? And I said, I don't want to use iPlayer or anything like that. I said, just tell me where I can watch it live. Not a thing, right? Oh, don't know. I said, all right, I guess I'm staying license free then. Right. Anyway, so I thought, no, do you know what? So this morning I thought, no, I want to watch the football, and I want to do it legally, so because I'll do it properly. And
Well,
I can hear your audience saying, "You silly bastard, you shouldn't have told them." No, I've got reasons for doing it this way. So anyway, I got in touch with them. 4 phone calls later, they didn't want to put me through to any kind of payment details. So I'm still unlicensed. and I tried. So TV license, if you're watching, you're a bunch of fucking prats. Send the goon round and I'll deal with him, because at least that way I might get a license for the month. Right, there you go. Rant finished. I hope you enjoyed that.
Well, if you just said, you know, you're HSP, sorry, I don't mean that as an insult, and you're scrupulously honest, that's why you phone them up.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. But I wish we was in Texas. Yeah, we can. So make my day, punk. Yeah.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, do you think it's the shotgun putting them off coming to the door? Do you reckon it's the notice?
Well, America,
they're going.
They've signed up, don't they? Every caller is met with an armed response.
I mean, I'm feeling victimised by the TV license people. They're just knocking for me, and I'm starting to feel gaslit over the whole thing. It's not right. It's not right.
Why don't they save money and have a Jehovah's TV licensing man come round? That way they can kill two birds with one stone, you see. So if you talk about your TV license and then start Jehovahing you, you know.
Yeah, but the problem with that is then I'd be more inclined to see they say, you know, no thanks, I'm not interested in a license. But if the Jehovah's Witnesses were to come around saying, God, Jehovah would like you to have a TV license, I'd be like, oh shit, I really want to invite them in for a coffee now. Tell me, why does Jehovah want me to have a license exactly? Is it going to improve my life? You know, I'd be more inclined to let them in if that was the case. I mean, you're right. It would save them a fortune as well, because they could do it for free.
You can actually
incidentally, sorry, just to cut you off, right? Do you know how much the BBC licensing spent on goons last year?
No.
169 million on goons coming to your door, and yet they can't employ somebody to answer a bloody phone. And then 33 million pounds on stamps administration and sending letters to people's doors. They can't be that desperate for money if they wouldn't throw that many millions of pounds away. Notice the 33 million, by the way. I wonder if that was deliberate. I wonder if that's a deliberate, published figure to sort of coincide with other agendas, if you like. But there you go.
Well, my attitude is to say to them, I'm not a communist. As simple as that. I'm not a communist, so why should I watch that? You know, but it's true. Is it Peter Hitchens? One of those people said apparently this week that it's like watching Soviet Union. BBC's like watching something from the former Soviet Union. I mean, it's shit. I mean, in fact, it's so bad to be shit. That's how bad it is. I mean, it's crap. I mean, think of what.
Here's the thing. I mean, in terms of wanting a license, right? So I'm gonna do a Chili John Carney here. So a shout out to Chili John Carney, if I can say his name. Right? He got the TV license, right? And he's right. He's bang on what he says. So it's obviously if you're not watching live or recorded television through BBC iPro, okay, that's fine. I don't do any of that anyway, right? And I genuinely don't bother with any of it. I don't want it. And the reason for that is because I don't want to sit there getting propagandized and brainwashed by their woke absolute tosh. There's nothing. The mainstream TV has nothing to offer. Even their comedians are crap these days, apparently. There's no you know, if you look back to the 80s and 90s, at least you had Blackadder and Father Ted, things like this, that were genuinely worth watching. And now they tell you, oh, no, that's too offensive. We have to take it off air. Well, if you were going to try and convince me to buy a license, you've just lost the argument, because that's the kind of stuff that I would watch, you know?
Yeah, well, that's right. But you see, everybody now, they seem to be recruiting people from universities. And you look at these so-called comedians that they've recruited from universities. Hello, the old troll's back again from Sky.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. And I won't mention Dom Jolly because he might get a bit upset. But
this is a prat. There you go.
I mean, is there anything funny with what he does? I mean, he's written a book about conspiracy things, and he said, a lot of conspiracy people believe that Finland doesn't exist.
This is the right. Let's be honest. Have you ever heard of that? I mean, I've never ever come across a conspiracy theorist, and I've met quite a few in the last couple of years that consider them. Since when doesn't Finland exist? Where the hell did that come from? More to that, I actually have an extended family member who lives in Sweden. In Sweden
as well.
How would you explain that? You know, and he's definitely a real person living in Finland. You know.
Well, that's right. And what's it? Jolly Heretic. He lives in Finland as well. He comes from Finland. So I mean, but I think it's made up, and it's a bit like David Icke was used as the court jester. he came on so that he could be like a ballpark to say, because you notice that anybody that doesn't believe in the agenda is mental. And this is what
apparently, yeah, we're all nuts because we can see through their evil machinations, you know.
Oh, he's busy. He's a troll tonight. It's two so far. But no, you're right. And the thing is that former Soviet Union did the same. Oh, you must be mental. And this is why HSPs, when they come up against a lot of these fickle piffle wake, woke.
That's on you. I didn't have anything to do with that.
Just a woke awake.
The matrix is collapsing around me as you're saying it. Look at me, it's collapsing.
They're going against the cult, you see, because they're questioning. And I think that, mind you, if we all they know who we are. So if they round us all up, we'll all be in a camp together. So that'd be, we're getting all right.
But would we? I mean,
we go as crowds, freak out. But again, some of the bravest people have been HSP. This is the thing. It's not. It doesn't do with wall flat. It's just that your senses are sort of all the time, But now I said earlier, yes, I am always getting told I overthink things. That's Holly, and she said, or too analytical. That's another one. Too analytical.
How can you be too analytical? I mean, these are good traits: thinking, analyzing, figuring things out. Maybe this is why there's such an attack against HSP, because they know that if shit's going to get found out, it's probably going to be from these overthinking, analytical types who literally dwell for hours at a time trying to suss things out because it doesn't sit well with them. So if they're trying to push inverted, twisted messages, agendas, and propagandas towards us, we're going to be the ones that say, well, hang on a minute, no, that's not right. So maybe that's why there's a concerted effort to make us look like a bunch of wet snowflakes, which we're not. That is a woke mentality. I've been accused of being passive. And I'm thinking, the amount of things that I've done in the last couple of years, passive is very, very far away from that.
Well, put it this way, I'm not showing off or anything, but I would protect myself if somebody upset me.
Yeah.
It'd have to upset me a lot. And I think that, I've never done judo or anything like that, but what I did know from a bloke who was a black belt judo I worked with, he said the first thing they teach you, don't worry about saving face. If you can get out of the way, get out of the way. You use that thing. That is the last resort. It's like the nuclear option. He said that is the last resort. But don't worry about saving face. Just walk away from whatever, And I think that is a very, very wise words. You walk away from trouble. You don't try and provoke it and that type of thing,
But that's people's egos getting in the way, though, isn't it? That's like saying, oh, well, I never walk away from a fight. Well, sometimes you're going to lose, and sometimes you're going to lose badly. It's a case of weighing up the odds and saying, right, can I take this guy or not? Can I survive going through this group of thugs or what? Or should I just walk in the opposite direction for my own safety? Is that not a case of common sense over ego? I would thought so anyway.
Yeah. Well, I was in Wicks the other day, and a bloke came up to me, member of the staff. He said, "Do you want decking?" So I decided to get the first punch in.
So you're getting on his wick. That was the problem with that.
Yeah. So there we go. We've got Stephen Truthseeker. Hello again. Hello, Stephen Truthseeker. We've got Rabbit Stew. Hello, Rabbit Stew 99. Lion's mane is great for alertness during the day. Oh, that's
yeah. It is actually that one. That's a good one.
Yes, right. But the bleeding lion don't like it. You find you might bite it. But no, that's
mushroom. No, it's a mushroom. It literally looks like it's like a white frilly. Yeah. It's actually good. If you take the lion's mane and mix it with a couple of other mushrooms as well, you'll get like immune system boost, memory enhancement. You can mood improvement as well, mood enhancement,
and a trip as well.
Yeah, that's the other time. I don't know anything about that, Eric. I would never condone such usage of fungus.
When I was at school, we were so naive and so innocent. mate of mine who used to smoke. I'm not a smoker because that's goody. He said, "I'm on grass, man. Freshly mowed." He almost caught his eyebrows. I'm like, I'm going to try grass, you know, thinking it was the actual grass. And that's how innocent I wish we still were. I really do.
Yeah.
You know, it was great innocence because we had a childhood. You know, because we see people having on grass. He actually thought they smoked actual grass.
But you know what? See, I'm not a smoker either. I've had one or two occasionally here and there, but you know, I do like the idea of the pipe, right? I mean, that does kind of appeal. I like the smell of a pipe. Well, it's different. It's got a different smell to it.
But according to Richard Vobes, that's according to him, I'm not promoting his site. Who's on
You're a twin brother.
Sorry, yeah, and
I thought you were a twin brother.
Well, he reckons that pipe tobacco is not addictive, and he's recently taken up pipe smoking. And really, when you think about it, I believe the tobacco industry put a load of chemicals in tobacco to make it addictive. Because my mother used to say she used to smell my grandfather or her father's tobacco, and it was perfectly okay in the sort of 1930s and 40s when he smoked. But now it's sort of, bloody hell, what's that, you know? And they reckon that the paper has got carcinogenic stuff in it when they draw in and that type of thing. But no, I mean, a pipe smoke, some of it smells like custard powder. Some is very nice. I've actually found some pipe smoke smells very nice. I mean, I used to work in an office of a bloke who smoked a pipe. And very wise. You'd ask him a question, you get about, we can go to the gents, come back before you get an answer, you know. He's thinking about, bloody good designer. He actually worked out a spiral staircase, designed it in his head, where normally you'd have to sort of have a couple of attempts to get it right with all the mathematics, but he worked it all out. So
I must have been doing it for quite a while to do that.
Yeah. But Hereditous Getfoot says Wormwood. What's this? Abysthe.
No, absolutely right. So I know what he's on about here. So right, okay. Can I comment on this? So wormwood, it's I don't know whether it's a herb or a weed or something like that, but it was used for absinthe. And anybody who's tried wormwood just on its own, it is horrendously bad. I took a packet of wormwood to a party once. I say party, it was a house party. There was only about 10 people there. And I said, right, who's up for this? So, you know, passed it around, and honestly, I think more people spat it out. It's like battery acid. It's disgusting, but it is good for it's like a dewormer. It clears your system as well. It's like I think it's a purging agent. But then if you mix that with fermented alcohol, things like that, then it forms absinthe, and of course then you start to see the green fairy, so to speak. And it's it's got a sister plant that goes with it. I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember the name. But anyway, yeah. So there you go. Bit of a anecdote for you.
That's very, very interesting, because I think, to be straight with depression. Depression is lethargic anger in many ways. Sort of anger that can't be bothered, you know. But I've often said depression.
Here's a question for you, actually. So I'm going to ask you this one. What do you? It's a bit of a weird one. Do you prefer anxiety or depression? If you had to choose one over the other, if you were forced to say, right, I'll go into depression or anxiety, what would you go for? Just out of curiosity.
You have to choose anxiety, because you can try and work your way around it. With depression, it's like you're in a hole that you can't get out of. Churchill called it black dog, but the strange thing is, with depression, you think it's never going to lift, and then it's like a cloud, it lifts.
Yeah.
And I've actually got coping mechanism with it, and I actually think that with depression, it is not only state of mind, it is frequency of your mind. And you look at it when the sun comes out, you look at these sunny climates, people have always got a smile for you. Even if they're going to rob you or cut your throat, they've still got a smile for you. And so, hello, senora. You know, but no, seriously, they've always got a smile. Whereas you look at these cold places like Swindon, you know, or sorry, Morecambe, or Siberia. I think how
a slight stretch with Siberia, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, similar, isn't it? You know, and really, or Birmingham, the Bullring Birmingham. That's the ultimate. That is. And when you look at it, joking aside, I do think the environment makes you what you are in many ways, and I think that it's not meeting people on the same frequency that can make you depressed, because we are social animals, and that frequency is important. And this is why it's so difficult with HSPs. And again, I don't want to sound elitist, because it's difficult to find fellow people on the same frequency. And I do believe people with HSP, well, there was a commando, I think, that was HSP, highly sensitive person. Actual commando, you don't expect that. Not exactly a shrinking wolf, right? You know, and that type of thing. So again, it's nothing to do with that. It's just this information sort of overload type of thing. You kind of absorb more than other people. But of course, that's very, very useful, because you're very aware and notice things that other people don't notice and things like that. But this, I think that as for different herbs and things that help you, there is, as I say, with me, it's St. John's wort. It tends to work for me, but it doesn't work for you. I'm sure that there's other herbs, because all the drugs that the people that we're not allowed to talk about on YouTube, they actually are fluoride based. And excuse me, sorry about these noises. It's this troll on the Skype. It just won't go. And
he just really wants to sell you that Bitcoin currency or something like that, right?
Something like that, from Nigeria. By the way, I'm very sad. A distant relative of mine has left a gold mine to me, and all I have to do is send some money into this person, and they'll release all the paperwork for it. Isn't that marvelous?
Oh, well, you know, being a HSP, you're going to seriously comply with that. I mean,
of course.
Nice.
Well, you know, mind you, some silly sod must fall for that, for them to keep doing it, you know. But anyway, we've got, what is it? Blue cheese. This is DJ Beats. It says blue cheese would probably be okay, as it's mostly mold. We were talking about cheese earlier. Now, Lena Elizabeth says, I've got to go now. Well, please open the window and remember to pull the chain. I'm looking forward to watching the rest later tonight. I loved what you said about the forest being your cathedral and how it lifts your energy and frequency. Yes, it does. Yes. And sorry, that's not my stomach. It just keeps bloody throw. It won't go. DJ P2 said, Margarine is just recycled ICI paint from the 1980s.
Now, you know what? I believe that as well.
I believe it. You know, and
I mean, let's put it this way: you know, the fluoride's a waste product as well, and that comes from the factories and in big industry, and that's just a recycled waste product that they throw back at us to cause us harm. So
rots your pineal, and that's something I was going to say, is that whatever you do, if you're going to link your pineal gland with somebody, because you can do that, be bloody careful, because demons can get in. And another one where demons can come in is this, was it ayahuasca things that people do in the Amazon? They reckon you've got to be with a real professional that knows what they're doing, a proper American Indian, a proper Indian, not some joke one, because that can let demons in. And I know that who's that chap who talks about, what's his name now? He talks about an ancient civilization that was more as advanced as us.
Graham Hancock.
Thanks, mate. You know, you're a marvelous prompt. Graham Hancock, he goes to these ayahuasca ceremonies, and well, he might pay out to have a real professional there. But if you don't, you can let anything nasty in. You've got to be so bloody careful, because whilst you're hey, things are getting in, and this is why I believe alcohol they call spirits. I believe that true that is, because you know what Mark Windows said about the chap who died on the operating theatre, floated up and went over a pub and saw all these demons queuing up, waiting for people to get drunk. And then suddenly he's whisked back into his body, and that's what he saw. So,
do you know what? It would explain a lot if you think about it, because I mean, people's behaviours and inhibitions are they're completely altered. And like you say, you know, they call it spirit. I mean, the guy I just mentioned, absinthe, which was associated, you know, the nickname for absinthe was the green fairy, because you were said to have been possessed by some kind of you know, entity. And of course, what you were seeing, you were kind of had a window into the other dimensions, and you were seeing all these different you know, entities or whatever you want to call them. Do you know what? I think we need a couple of episodes on this about, you know, the whole supernatural thing. Because as much as I don't go for a lot of it now, but I still think there's significantly some, let's say, very interesting topics out there that need further investigation.
I agree, and then that's another thing with HSP. You're more susceptible, as I said earlier, to seeing spiritual things and sensing spiritual things. Not that bloke, but remember that program where they used to do Ghost Watch or something? Was it a Cora who said something? Hang on, it's someone's
Derek Okura, but yeah, but he was a massive fraud anyway. He was a bullshitter on steroids.
Yeah, hang on, we got Dick here. Have we got a Dick here?
I mean, it was the biggest shit show going, wasn't it? I mean, they tried to convince you that, you know, I couldn't watch it. I think I watched one of them and I just thought, nah, this is pure entertainment for gullible people, right? That's all it is. I don't think there's a single genuine person on those programs. And I sure don't think there was anything spooky other than the editing technique. But there you go.
Well, no, a ghost watcher goes out professional, and it's 9 times out of 10 nothing happens.
Yeah.
So you got to make a television program. You know, oh, it's here. Oh, there it is. Bullshit.
Yeah. I actually am very good friends with somebody who does that. Sorry, you keep putting a comment on. I don't mean to keep you from reading.
We've got to do some shows on ghosts. So anybody wants ghosts? That's it.
Yeah, again, anything supernatural. I mean, again, I've got some very, very strange experiences, and it usually tends to occur around the time when I meditate, or when if I'm, you know, doing anything, let's say spiritual, or, you know, trying to expand consciousness. Yeah, I've seen some very, very weird, disconcerting things. In fact, one of them I still can't explain to this day, and I had somebody with me at the time. But we'll go into that. Another one that'll be fascinating to go into.
Yes, and look at the mediums. A lot of them. I think all of them have got HSP, but and they don't go anywhere near the Fickle Piffle Wonky Awake. Marriage is another church-made control mechanism. This is Cameron Louise. Hello, Louise. I believe woman and Moan, I think that's a typo, Moan, yes, should choose to be together. And yes, that should mean for life, not till a richer or younger one comes on. I agree with you. I was talking today to someone, and I used to say I'm not prudish. Yeah, I am. I'm prudish. And I used to say I'm not a snob. Yeah, I'm a snob. Because I think we've gone too far now. I don't really want to know what someone got up to in their bedroom. Quite honestly, I couldn't care less. And self-respect, that's what it is. I mean, you know, and I think that Max Wall was right. And again, I'm sorry for all these noises because this Max Wall was 100% right, because you keep hearing whoop, 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 whoop. Well, I can anyway. Max Wall was right because he said, you know, we're here to entertain. And why should we know about what affair someone's having, or whether they're gay, straight, or whatever? Couldn't care less. You know,
Yeah.
if someone is entertaining me, like Larry Grayson, I used to be off my seat with laughter with him, and he used to hype up this, and he was a genuine caring person. And they reckon a lot of people, when he got his wealth, found a hidden benefactor, like, you know, someone couldn't pay their mortgage or was poor, they'd suddenly find their mortgage paid for, but he didn't admit it. That to me is a true decent person. And they reckon Oliver Reed was similar as well. They reckon there's a woman that was going to lose her house. She was a single parent, and suddenly she found her mortgage paid. And when she asked him, he just said F off or something. That it was him, because it could have only been him, you know. But you know, that is to me a true, you know, person. Now, Cameron, I agree. This is Rabbit Stew 99. It's programming, but once you start realizing what life is about, you're not interested in richer or younger. Spot on.
I don't know. I could always use a bit more cash. so yes. It's all right. You know, the whole spiritual idea that cash is the devil's tool and that it's unspiritual. It's all right saying that, but it's generally coming from people who've got it, and you know, it's not like we can live without it. It's not like you can just not have it and not. You kind of need it to function. You need it to operate in society. So there you go. There's a little bit of an input.
You're right. What is it? What is it that Spike Milligan said about wealth? It's health is wealth.
Necessary evil or something.
Health is wealth, but if you got more money, at least you can be more comfortable with being miserable. Something like that. But we've got a very clean joke here from oh bloody hell, this troll is driving up the wall. We've got a very clean joke here from That's Life But Not As Sweet. What? Can I read it? What? What?
You've done it now.
What? That's
Go on. Come on, Eric.
What do the bathroom pussy? One slip of the tongue in your dipshit. Well, I think the Klaxons are just warming up at YouTube. Of course, we're talking about cats, aren't we?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Right, we got here. Thanks, Matt. That's a classic, that one is. I had the camera said, I had 2 leaflets put through my letterbox. Oh, you lucky person. The same called twat, but unfortunately, I wasn't in, so I never got to tell him he is not a chosen one. Yes. I could think I can read between the lines. Did I tell you the other year? Oh, when was it? 8 years ago. Anyway, I think it's not the last election, but the one before that. I was in my front garden, pruning my roses actually, and suddenly I see these guys are walking around putting leaflets through the door. So I thought it was leaflets for, well, always having leaflets for pizzas and bloody chicken tonight and all that crap. Anyway, bloke comes along. I thought, a bit too well dressed for a leaflet distributor. You know, he had the sort of woolly socks and the hairy nostrils and a bit of a sort of a city gent type. So I said, oh, good day, oh, lovely day, the roll's lovely. And I thought, nah, he's not a leaflet distributor. So anyway, when I got in, it said, sorry you were out when we called. Conservatives. So they bloody lie before they even start. Sorry you were out when we called. Bastard was just posted through the letterboxes.
They gaslighters, you know, they threaten to come around and talk to you, and they never turn up. And it's unacceptable making false promises.
Yeah,
you know.
But it says it was it third time ID. Richard Rabbit Stew 99. Okay, I'll probably get that later because I'm a bit thick like that. Hitchens lived in Russia for years. Did he? Was that Christopher Hitchens, isn't it?
And I was going to say there's two Hitchens in this. One of them's a religious guy. The other one was the political journalist.
Yeah. It says here, Rabbit Stew says primary school here says reducing places by 30%. So a lot less new kids.
Good.
Yet local Labour MP saying she wants to add 6,500 new teachers. Really? Perhaps they're political correction officers. Which is an interesting thing. What we're going to talk about on Friday. People say, hang on, he's normally on Mondays, isn't he? I slipped this one in, you see. It's like, when you see anything, if I see anything double meaning, I just get it out. I just, I don't like double meaning gags. I just get it out when it. Sorry. Anyway, this Friday, as well as next Monday, and this I will be speaking to, and I've forgotten who the poor sod is I'm speaking to. It says it. I'm speaking to your twin, Nathan.
My namesake, Nathan Allenby.
Yes, and we will be speaking about.
So, can I give him a little bit of a plug here?
Why not? Give him a plug.
So, Nathan Allenby is a friend of mine. I'm introducing you to some good people here, mate. Anyway, he's also. Well, yeah, they've got a good crew up north, I'll tell you, in Newcastle area. But anyway, Nathan, he's very well spoken, lifelong activist by the sounds of it, and he's very, very good at getting the message across. I mean, he's done lots of talks on the state of passivity within the truth movement, things like that. However, keeping my promise to the guy, he's recently done a video to discuss the situation with Russia. So I'll be very careful with my words here, obviously, because I don't want to get the claps.
We'll be on Rumble, by the way. We won't be, we'll be on because of what we've got to say, yes.
Yeah, so, for obvious reasons, yeah. But anyways, let's say that he's very, very concerned about the status quo in terms of conflicts. Now, he seems to think that something's going to happen shortly after the election. So all I'm going to say is, for any of the people listening, whether that be in live, real time, or whether it's that you're watching the show at a later point, please, if you can, watch the show with Eric. I think he's going to send you a video link as well. If you could get that posted onto your channel and get other podcasters to pass that around to see if we can get the message out. I'll let Nathan go into further details as to why, but I think prevention's better than cure. I'll just say that. And so there you go.
Well, we'll be on Rumble only because Facebook is getting a bit, excuse my language, arsey with me as well. So
we'll with that one.
Yeah, that's not a surprise. Now, it might go on Telegram as well at the same time. But
I was going to say, if you've got a BitChute, stick it on BitChute as well. You'll get away with it on BitChute.
Oh yeah, but trouble is you can't do live on BitChute. You can only do that. You can only do afterwards. And this is another weird thing that happened. Normally, my show goes out. Sometimes about 1 o'clock in the morning. It automatically records on the BitChute. And that enables John, morning, John. It won't be evening, you see, because there's 7 hours in Siam. He is a member, he is the ambassador, FOCOM ambassador in Siam. He is there also a mission to educate the primitive peoples of Siam who still wear a mask around their face, you see. So
interesting.
That's it, yes. He's about the only ones walking around without a mask, because they're all walking around still with a bleeding mask around their face. And you think how hot it is in Siam?
Yeah.
But
maybe they get a bit of sunshine over there still. I forgot what it looks like. It's been that long.
Well, I'm going to ask John. Is it there's a shortage of underarm deodorant in Siam? That's why they've got a mask on. What smells very funny? Oh, what a smelly! Oh God, they bought a bit under the arms. Yeah. Anyway, almost wandered into the old, what is it now? The old Swedish chemist shop joke. Do you reckon I could? No, better delete that until another day. Yeah. Anyway, the show on Friday will be called On My Rumble Channel Only. Okay, is the Visibly Invisible cult. It's going to be Visibly Invisible, and the show Visibly Invisible. And what I was going to say about BitChute is, as I say, it normally automatically loads up usually about 1 o'clock in the morning. And this week, Tuesday came, and I thought, it's not on there. Sometimes it's a bit late. Wednesday came, no, still not on there. I thought, Then Thursday, no. So I looked at it on Friday, and all my settings have just been completely wiped out on there. I've had to reset it all again. So hopefully this will load up at 1 o'clock in the morning or something. I don't know. It's really weird. Because it's poor old John sitting over inside. I'm thinking, because he can watch it on YouTube, but he can't comment on there because they can't censorship. So he can only comment on my BitChute channel. Yeah, and I've actually had this on YouTube. I put a comment on, and you're halfway through, and it just wipes out. Or you press go on, then just goes.
Right.
So you can
I think I can answer that one because it took me a while to figure this out. So with you, if you're commenting in the chat, it'll go through. However, when you're trying to leave a message in the comment section to the video in general, if you are using a VPN, it doesn't let it through. So just if you want to leave a chat, disable your VPN temporarily. Post the message, otherwise you'll lose it. So that's one of the reasons that. Well, it's potentially.
So he might. I don't know. So that's interesting. That's interesting because if you've got a VPN, which you can download, there is one you can download, which I sometimes do use to get something, a show that is in the naughty country, which we must all start, called Today, and it begins with R, and it ends with A, Today. So so there we go. Now, what we got here? Have we read this one out? Oh yes, yes. Yeah. And what I was going to say about this is that people don't realise there was some legislation, which this is what we're probably going to talk about also on Friday. They're talking about conscription, which I'm passionately against. I think it's disgusting to compel anybody to do anything. But during the Cold War in 1980s, a secret, and I'm trying to find it, act went through where you can get any age, and if they need X amount of bodies to, say, unload a ship, I'm just making this up, a ship at the local docks, you'll get a letter through. You must go to the local docks at such and such a time at such and such a date and unload that ship. And that's what they passed in the 1980s. It's an act. And you could be any age. And if you don't, well, they'll probably get the police, who will be possibly the people coming over on the rubber boats. They'll be used for security. That's what I believe they're coming over for. Because in the army, they've got to go through a long training process, which Steve will be able to know about that. Yeah. But to make them security officers, you can do that within a couple of days. Just stick a uniform on them, and they'll come and boot your door in if you don't go. So you could be any. I mean, look what happened with the during World War II when they was trying to break the Enigma code. And there's an old boy that could complete the Times crossword very quickly, and the men in suits went and visited him, and he was in his 80s, and he was conscripted to break the codes. Whoa. Yeah. So, if they want you, they'll grab you. So that's something we might be covering. And if anybody knows about that law, that was in the 1980s. I like that. Now, DJ Flips, sorry I'm late. Oh, another detention. Go to the headmaster, and he'll give you the cane to cane him. And been out searching for someone's missing, I was going to say pussy, cat.
You beat me to it. I'm thinking it.
Sorry. We got pussy on the brain, haven't we? By the way,
I'm not going to finish that comment. I wish I had pussy on the. Yeah. Anyway,
go onto YouTube when you finish this show and tap in.
Oh yeah, there won't be any YouTube show from now on after the pussy thing.
Harry Roy, my girlfriend's pussy. And that was a tune that they had in the 1930s. I kid you not. My girlfriend's pussy. Seriously. Been gone 2 weeks now. What, you want a pussycat? Okay.
What comes to mind when you say that is, I'd buy that for $1. That whole thing would.
It's just good to see Nathan again, Chris. I'm HSP, I think. There we go. Right.
Thank you very much.
Truth Seeker said, hope you find the cat. So it's just very busy on here tonight, aren't they? Yes, they are. Now we start to it. Oh, bloody hell. Was it? Censoring remarks. Are they? Blimey. I hope not.
Wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me, no. Wouldn't be too surprised if my YouTube account might be temporarily halted for a week.
Well, we could always.
I'll be on Rumble anyway. So it doesn't matter. To YouTube. Sorry, to YouTube because I got a Rumble channels and now DJ Flit the pussy. Cat has gone 2 weeks. Not me. Oh, I see. You don't live near any Chinese restaurants, do you? Sorry, I'm not trying to put, dispersion. Number 63 on the menu, maybe. I don't know.
They do that apparently.
Well, cats are weird, really. They do come back. They do wander around. They do go for they're a bit like the Aborigines. They go for a walkabout, don't they, occasionally? Oh, by the way, this morning, went up my garden, and there's not 3 blind mice, 3 dead mice.
Oh.
And I thought, oh, bucker. So I thought, well, I'll have my breakfast first. And before the sun comes up, the flies get over them, I'll scoot them up and shove them in the compost heap, a bit of the old compost. Whoa. So anyway, I thought I don't feel like doing this before breakfast. And anyway, I went in, had my breakfast, came out, and gone. I think the crows or the magpies have had them. Just completely.
Okay, this is synchronistic, right? If anyone knows about magpies, please can you make some comments, because every time something significant happens in my life, I get magpies knocking at the window. And the last month or so, it's happening again. Now this is a totally different house to what happened last time. And now I've got 2 of them sat on my windowsill, and every time I'm going in, I'm getting magpies, and then of course they fly off as soon as I see them. So if anyone can answer that one, I'd be very interested to find out what that means, if it means anything. It could just be.
Because I know that it's part of an Irish thing, isn't it? In Ireland, they believe something about magpies. I don't quite what. Yeah. Because there's a power struggle between magpies, crows, and pigeons. They're sort of shit, actually, and pigeons. But pigeons, they're quite placid. But there's a big fight on between young crows and young magpies, right? And it's like a power struggle. And sometimes you see loads of magpies, sometimes you see loads of crows. But little birds are frightened away by these buggers, Now we've got here. That's life, but not as we know it. Don't take up smoking. Not worth it.
Not even a pipe. I could be tempted for that. I could be tempted for a pipe now and then. Now and then.
Does that include farting as well? Yes. Well, I can't give up farting, unfortunately. I tell you what I like doing. I go to the supermarket.
I went for a line because the Matrix picture seems to be breaking up around it.
Well, when my dad was alive, blimey, you're all pixelated.
I know, that's what I mean. It's all, yeah.
Well, when my dad was alive, he was in a wheelchair, you see. I went to the supermarket, and I this is getting really foul now. I shall we say, I dropped what is commonly known as a soft killer. That is, I farted, and it was a real. I was around the fruit section, so I picked up, I think it was an orange. Went, Paul, dear, that smelled awful. And I go to, oh gosh, don't it?
That's terrible. That. I can't believe you can't blame on an innocent tangerine there. This is unacceptable behaviour.
Right, we got goat's milk is good. Yeah,
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, it's there's a farm not far from where I live, at where that sells unpasteurized milk. It comes straight from the moo cows, Jersey cows, and someone says it's all creamy. So and you can get all orgasm food and orgasm stuff.
Lovely.
Sorry, not orgasm.
It's all the talk of pussy that's got you wound up now, isn't it?
That's right. I went in there. I said, she said, "Would you like some milk?" I suppose. No, fit it yet.
Wow.
Right. Thanks, Stephen. There may have been a slight sighting by a dog walker.
Oh, we must have been bored of something senseless here, mate. I mean, this is terrible.
Yeah, it's about the missing pussy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, don't worry. I mean, it's your girlfriend's pussy. Oh, no, it's your neighbour's, isn't it? That's it. Yeah. But don't worry, they do come back. You ask Deb, because she had Bob, didn't she? He was a Fockham Hall superstar. Bob, do you remember Bob?
A bobcat. You called your cat, but it's a bobcat. I love it. That's great.
Okay. Yes. Unfortunately, he has passed on to pastures new, and she's got 2 young pussy cats now. I don't know how she got them, but anyway. So she's little kittens. I love cats. I tried. This is rubbish, Stu. I tried to smoke a pipe for a while, and it's extremely hard to do. The smell, though, of gold block was lovely. All about getting the draw of air through it. Not an easy. Well, I'm not going to smoke a pipe. The only smoking I do is out of another part of my anatomy, which we won't go into.
Yeah. I wonder what that could be. Yeah, whilst you're blaming it on tangerines and the matter. Yeah, unbelievable.
Because I like playing farting down the aisle in the supermarket. So you start one end the other and see how long you can go for before you get to the other end. But the trick is, if you're on a crowded train, so I used to do this because it was packed rush hour when I used to go to work, is to break wind and give somebody a filthy look as if it's them. So
Right, yeah, satanic inversion when you fart. I get it.
I was actually on the train once, and this is sort of like this garlicky fart smell came up, and then said, "Pardon," and 3 of us got the giggles, but fancy admitting it, or "Pardon me."
Well, garlic smells bad enough as it is. A garlic fart smell. Is this what I refer to as a seaside fart, where everything just smells of seaweed? It's horrible.
Is anyone having problems with chat tonight? This is Baby with a Laser. Let's think there is something going on.
Ooh,
yes.
Interesting.
Now it says here, Baby Laser camera says, yes, have been having problems for weeks. If you can see this. Well, don't worry. On Rumble, I think your chat's all right. But the only trouble is on Rumble, I can't put the chat down at the bottom of the screen. It goes down the side. So it's a bit strange. And I'm still a Rumble virgin. I don't really, I'm not very sort of experienced with Rumble, But Chris, don't have a shave at an Italian hairdresser's. Oh yes, that was the Pratt Stops, wasn't it? Yes. Now we go here. I'll have to miss a few here. Oh, it's Robert. Hello, Robert.
I want to read through a few more. That's fine.
Yes. Sorry, I haven't actually replied to your email. Well, do you know we're 8 minutes over? It's gone very quickly. And now we've got here 100%. It says alcohol 100%. Let spirits in if you're not careful. On the other hand, if you are in control, I think it's of it, lets you connect to that level. But
I understand what they're saying there. You have to have a certain degree of knowledge to do that. I think. I mean, I don't know how that would work personally, but I suspect it would be a two-way street if you knew what you were doing. Yeah, potentially.
Well, you're right. I mean, what gets me is there's a difference between alcoholics and boozers. An alcoholic is most of the time, but a boozer can drink pints and pints and pints or loads of spirits and still seem sober. They reckon that what was that actor Richard Burton? No, sorry, that's a bit Alec Guinness. But Richard Burton, he couldn't live without drink. You'd actually make him ill. He was just boozing all the time, And
Well,
we've got
his
Stig,
uncles,
New Zealand. Morning all. Hello, Stig. Morning, Stig. And New Zealand. And I can't do a New Zealand accent. It sounds a bit Australian, you see.
Yeah, it comes out very, very mad with you. It's South African and New Zealand I can't do. Australians all right. I can do Australian.
I'm all right with the South Africans, but they speak a bit flat, don't they? And I mean, I've often told about that Zimbabwe man that I worked with, and I don't know why we found his accent funny, but he was trying to hold the laughter in. And it was the word bicycle, hippo, and the rhino, which triggered us off. I was on my bicycle, and I saw the hippo and the rhino, and I worked with a Sikh who was born here, and they say that Sikh people don't have Sikh. He did. We was creased up with laughter. Why are you taking the piss out of my accent for? You know, this is racial. This is. It's not funny. I don't know why. Anyway, they don't campaign anymore. This is about politicians because they don't need to. The gig is up, and even the so-called normies know deep down that the whole thing is a farce. Yes, it is. And this
is pretty bloody obvious these days, isn't it? So you might be right with that one. I think. Which actually that can only be read into as a good thing. That's if even the normies have lost their faith in the so-called system, and they can see through it, and they can see the agendas. Do you know what? That's a very hopeful thing, and I don't put much hope in humanity or the future or anything like that. But that can only be considered a good thing. So yeah, let's hope that's the case. Well, I think he's right.
So many MPs leaving the House of Commons this election, isn't there? I can't remember the exact number. I know my local one's going, and a woke one's replacing me. He wants to make the whole borough zero neutral, which means carbon neutral, which we're carbon.
Yeah, sure.
So he wants to wipe out everybody in the borough. So that's nice of him, isn't it? You know, I think somebody else had that.
Yeah.
It's Stalin, Chairman Mao. I think they had these. You know, they like killing people.
Yeah.
Now, Mark Windows, this is DJ Flipped, recent interview with historian Stephen Strong called Rings of Atlantis. It's fascinating and it's quite scary and disturbing. It involves 3 ancient rings that Stephen owned, but I won't spoil it. Now, that's interesting.
Yeah, I might look that up. That sounds curious. I like the sound of that.
Sounds good. Right. We got a good eye. Good eye, mate.
Good eye, mate.
Yeah. But actually, I think New Zealand accent is sort of like a posh Australian, isn't it?
It's slightly different. I can't pull that off.
Canadian is like a posh American, isn't it? It's sort of, you know, very.
Canadians. I can't say that without this horrible feeling of the agenda popping up and saying that you have to be a. No, I can't. Canada's lost, isn't it? It's done.
Oh. Well, it's just slightly left of Chairman Mao, isn't it? I mean, it is. Bloody Prime Minister out there. What's his name now? Trudeau, or whose daddy I think came from a little island called Cuba. But that's another question, you know, because his mummy was. She was very friendly with people. Very friendly lady she was. You know? Yeah, she had a life of this, that, and the other, and. Not much this and that. Anyway, Opera browser has a free VPN. That's interesting.
Right. So I'm gonna say with Opera, be careful. Read their small print and their terms of use, because you might not be overly fond of it once you find out what they're up to. A friend of mine. He knows his stuff into like tech-wise software stuff. You know, he tells me a load of stuff quite often. And one of the things he said is, if you want a decent VPN, go for Proton Mail, and you get it free if you sign up for an email with them, and then you can actually pay for an extended service. It's not an advert for Proton before anyone thinks it, but I'd rather people be aware of what they're getting into. I mean, I use McAfee and it's crap. I mean, I think my data's more at risk with these bastards than anything else. I won't be using them again. I know. Although they are a step up to Norton, so.
Oh, Norton.
They're even worse. Yeah. So I don't know.
One had actually almost infected my neighbour's computer. It took me bloody day to get the bastard off. It's terrible, you know.
Oh yeah, they don't. To get these pieces of software off your system, it's almost impossible. You've got to do a reformat in some cases. It's horrible.
Yes.
And it slows your system down somewhat chronic as well. I noticed when I was with Norton years and years and years ago, it caused a lot of crashes, a lot of system instability, and you know, and I'm not an advocate for any of the mainstream virus protectors or whatever you want to call them, you know, but just look into these VPNs just before you buy. Yeah.
Well, I don't have virus protection because they say that Windows one is good enough as it is. So.
Yeah, that's pretty much the best one on the market, apparently.
Now, Nathan, if the magpies are in pairs or larger groups?
There's two of them.
There's two. Now, now this is Baby with a Laser. That was Robert, by the way. My mate had it with a raven knocking on his window for a few weeks. Kept waking him up at the same time every day. Now, the other one, DJ flipped, is one for sorrow, two for joy. Nathan, magpies.
I could do with a bit of that. Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for answering the question there, mate. That's much appreciated.
Now, something about Struven Truth Seekers, something about cows at your window means death. Ooh.
Well, I'm on the third story of this house, so I don't think I'm going to get any cows knocking at the window.
The old cow that lives over the road, she keeps looking at me. I don't know, you know, but that's a human.
I don't know. Out the back, I've got some pretty ladies out the back. I mean, you know, I'm going to get arrested one of these days, looking down at them like.
You lucky sod. I've got a geriatric lives opposite. She's Nutty's a bleeding fruitcake.
Oh.
Yeah, she's sort of weird. Doesn't, you know, you say good morning to her, she looks like she's been touched up. You know, very odd.
I know a couple of them as well, funnily enough. I think everyone does, to be fair.
I think she's about 300 years old, this woman. In Native American culture, Robert Dorr, magpies are believed to possess the ability to shapeshift. Bloody hell.
Oh, that's slightly concerning. Right. Okay. I don't.
Robert Dorr said, Robert is in a hotel, works in a hotel. He says, had some really nice Canadians check in on Saturday. They cannot stand Justin Castro. Sorry, I mean Trudeau. Have you seen pictures of him?
I've seen Trudeau there.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. He might as well be a woman with some of the stuff that he comes out with. That sounded very sexist. I apologise to women for that. What I meant was, he's that woke. It wouldn't surprise me if he identified as one. I'm getting myself out of my grave there. So I'll put the shovel down now.
Well, you might be watching the program. You know, I mean, you know, you might be.
Oh, I'm sure he's not.
Yeah, because I think that Joe Biden stopped watching us now. He does that in between colouring his books that he's got. You know. Yes, Nathan, I use VPN. I'll look into Opera T's and C's. Thanks for the info. Well, I think we've come in. This is one of the fastest 2 hours we've had, isn't it? So
it's been really good.
It's been a classic. And as I'm waffling here, I'm trying to find the outro. There it is. I got it. Way. So thank you very much for joining us, Nathan. It's been bloody brilliant tonight.
Yeah, it's been good.
And we may be doing, if there's enough interest, future shows about the unexplained. Ooh.
Yeah, I'd love to go into that, especially. Do you know what we need? I know we're way off, but we need a Halloween special one for that as well, I think.
That's right. And ladies, we're going to be doing ones on ghoulies and ghouls. Nothing rude there, is it? Nothing.
No comment on the first part. No.
You know, what is it about people with crude minds? I just don't understand.
I wouldn't know what you're on about. I've never picked up on any innuendo or anything like that.
No, nothing like that. No.
I'm innocent. I'm an innocent. What have I put there? Delicate little flower snowflake with HSP. So I never pick up on. Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight, and I'll be back on Rumble on this Friday, the 21st at 8 o'clock sharp. We won't accept anybody late. You know, it'll be, you know, get quick dressing down. If that doesn't
likely,
work,
I'll probably turn up late. You know?
Ooh. And next Monday, it's the bowler hat farmer. He's back telling us not doom and gloom, but food shortages and things like that.
Not doom and gloom, but it's food shortages, right? Okay.
The week after, maybe, we don't know, it's not fully booked yet. There might be one on survival, on what to do with stocking up food and things like that if the shit hits the extractor fan, putting it politely. So there we go. Whoops, hang on, I've pressed the wrong button here. So thank you very much for joining us this evening. Join us again this Friday at 8 o'clock, but it won't be on YouTube. It'll be on my Rumble channel, which you can link down below here. No, not in my crutch, but down in the what do you call it? The description center. So you see Rumble there. Yeah, and whatever
you're buffering
happens,
a bit. Your signal seems to have died a bit.
have a bloody laugh and. I'm buffering. Buffering on.
Yeah.
Good night. And remember,
I'm thinking that.
bloody good laugh. Good night.